Hey, good afternoon. Happy Friday, TGIF to you. Thanks for tuning in for another episode, a special episode of Real Pro Fridays. Let's cap it up. All right, awesome. Nice. Hopefully, you guys have had an awesome day so far and you're preparing for your weekend with your friends and family. I just wanted to hop on real quick and talk about a few things on this special Real Pro Fridays. First up, if you want to follow me on IG, LinkedIn, YouTube, just type in From Dream to Reality Live. On Facebook, we're looking at um, from Dream. No, actually, I changed it, so it's My Senior Mortgage Advisor, or you can type in Google at My Senior Mortgage Advisor, and it'll pop me. It'll pop me up. And so Now we're just coming off of an awesome series. We began our first time homebuyer series called Destination Home Ownership Destination Home Ownership Readiness. I have no idea. Was the event that we started back in first quarter, April 21st of this year. We're talking about destination home ownership first things first, and we're helping you determine what your path to home ownership need is going to be through that process. And so April 21st was our very first class at 2 o'clock. And if you didn't watch that, you wasn't able to watch it. So here's what I want you to do. That QR code is live. So if you scan that QR code right now, it's going to take you to a registration page that looks something like this. It's going to take you to this registration page. And what you want to do is you can kind of review the upcoming class and what we're talking about upcoming, but you want to go ahead and register. So each event does not require registration in advance. You can just watch and enjoy the information, and your lives will be better for it. But the reason I want you to register, number one, I want to get some feedback from you directly and how we can improve the show and what information would help you in your home buying journey better. And then in addition, we have some free giveaways that I've named the collection of them Home Buyer Readiness Pack or Package. It's a collection right now of about 17 tools, items that you can use to help enrich your home buying journey and experience. But we need to know who you are and where to send this information to. So you definitely want to go ahead and click on that QR code that I showed you before. So right there, hit that QR code. It'll take you directly to this page. You just want to begin to fill out this information so we know where to send the home buyer readiness pack. Now, what we're doing is at the end of the series, which ends in June 16th is our last in this series. And everyone who has registered throughout the year will get that package. And so no matter what show that you've watched, or if you haven't watched the show, you just chimed in and you got off and you want to get the package, definitely reach out to us, give us the information that we need so we know where to send that information to. So, yes, we have a very special guest. You probably saw that already on that page. I am your special guest today, Sean Wilson, sales manager, New American Funding, Mid Atlantic Builder Division. And so that's something new for this region. We're building out our builder division here. We have a builder platform that we execute um, um, uh, through our builder relationships throughout the country. And so we're bringing that to the DMV. So just you stay tuned and will be more information about that. And so we started in January with our 12-part series From Dream to Reality Live. And so the first quarter, we talked about home ownership readiness. I have no idea. I misspoke earlier, but that's the correct name. Home ownership readiness. I have no idea. That aired on January 20th, February 17th, and March 17th, 2022. Go any one of those days. You probably want to go to either February or maybe March so you can get the entire series there. We started the new series in this quarter on April the 17th at 2 o'clock. Destination home ownership, um, first things first, right? And so what we're doing through this series is helping you determine what your path to home ownership is. Very exciting coming up. Now, if you purchase that house during the second quarter, third quarter, we're talking about make it pretty, home decor, landscaping tips. We're bringing in professionals to kind of help you guide your thinking on how you're going to beautify your home, how you're going to take care of your landscape, how you're going to protect your home, solar, that kind of thing, conserve energy. We're going to talk about that. And the series is called Your Home, Your Style, right? And so, we're going to talk about that for 3 months, and then the fourth quarter, very very exciting, something that's dear to my heart. We're going to talk about cash cow or money down the drain. Is your house a cash cow or is it a money down the drain? What does that really mean, Sean? What are you talking about, cash cow? So we're going to talk about tax strategies, wealth building tips. What can I do? That's the question we want to ask. What can I do with my home equity? How can I use it to build wealth? Of course, we know you can use it to pull out cash to fix your home or buy things. But what we want to have a conversation, especially in the light of our current economic situation, we want to be thinking about, and I want to encourage you to be thinking about using your equity to help build wealth, leave a legacy for your family, and that kind of thing. And so we're going to be talking about that, giving ideas, all the information that we bring to you and the professions that we bring to you. I just want to give you this disclaimer: the views, opinions, and commentary of the guests that air that are theirs and not that of New American Funding, our subsidiaries, our affiliates, our sister companies. So I want to encourage you to research and verify before taking action on what you hear. Right. So that's our encouragement to you. No surprises, no bait and switch, no tricks, that kind of thing. Just pre information you can actionize at your own leisure. All right. And so we're going to get into some things today that I wanted to bring to your attention. What we're doing is we're bringing a brand new um, home buying readiness program sessions or one-on-ones. I wanted to name what I did, right? With customers. Loan offices around the country do this every day in and day out. It's nothing new, but I want to put a name to it, right? So it gives it meaning to you, Mr. Home Buyer and Mrs. Home Buyer, when you have a conversation with me. And so what we're going to be calling it is Home Buyer Dream Planning Session. Home Buyer Dream Planning Session. And so before we get into that, just want to kind of let you know why we here. Why is Real Pro Fridays live here? Why is From Dream to Reality live here? So let's talk about that for a minute. And so our mission here at Real Pro Fridays is to interview real estate industry pros to learn what has made them successful and to gain their ideas and their insights on wisdom about all aspects of the home buying and selling process. So you, Mr. Home Buyer, you, Mrs. Home Buyer, can enjoy an amazing home buying experience and home buying selling experience as well, of a home selling experience as well, I should say. And then from dream to reality, our mission through our homebuyer series, our 12-part series that started in January 20th, is to provide information to provoke thought. We want you to be thinking about your home buying experience. What do you want to accomplish out of this relationship? It's going to last for a short period of time. So, what do you want to accomplish out of it? What is information that you need to take back to your tribe, your family, your sphere of influence, your network, to help improve where you are and where they are as well, right? Um, to provoke thought and conversation about what it takes to achieve and successfully maintain home ownership, thereby empowering home buyers, you, Mr. Home Buyer, you, Mrs. Home Buyer, to take action consistent with turning your home buying dream into a successful home ownership reality. That's the end goal. We want it to be successful. We want it to be enjoyable. It's a lot of moving parts. It can get stressful. So let me take the heavy lifting off of you. You enjoy the process. And if you allow me to guide you through it, you'll get to the destination, right? Awesome. So we gotten off to an amazing start so far. So who am I, right? Who am I in this process? Why should you listen to me? I'm a regular person just like you in the sense that this is my job. This is what I do for a living. This is how I feed my family. But on a deeper level, it's personal, right? It's a passion for me. It takes a lot of work. that we do on this side of the table. It's a passion for me. You have a goal, and I want to help you accomplish that goal and bring information that helps you execute and realize your dream. And so I've been doing this since 2007, about 15 years in the industry. When I started in the industry in 2007, talking about market conditions, thinking about market conditions, our rates have been going up. Back then, the interest rate was like 7.5. That was considered a pretty decent interest rate. If you had super excellent credit, you might be able to get down into the mid to low 4% or the mid to low 6% range. And so we're just in another cycle. And so I've been doing this since 2007. A couple of things that are important to me. I'm a homeschooling father. My wife and I, we've been homeschooling our kids since my 20, now 23-year-old entered into kindergarten at age 4 or 5 years old. And since then, we homeschool all five of our children. I'll show you a picture of them in just a second. It's been an awesome experience to see them grow up, to impart my personality, my wife imparting her personality into them and helping them develop into the awesome young people that they are developing into. And so I take that seriously because we're going to be releasing them into society. And I want to make sure that we're releasing productive and successful contributors to the betterment of humanity. So that's why we chose, that was our one of our whys to choose to homeschool. We're a Christian family as well. One of the things that's really, really important to me is that two things actually, in addition to family, is I love performance tuning cars, my own vehicles, right? I love doing that. I've been doing it since I was about 18 years old. And as a matter of fact, in my early 20s, I started a fix and go mobile mechanic business where I would go out to people's houses or to their jobs or wherever they were to fix their cars. And so that lasted for about 6 months because I found myself neglecting my own vehicles. I was like, wait a minute, it's turning into too much like work, right? Not enjoyment. So I shut that down and just kind of focus on my own vehicles. And I love racing cars. Matter of fact, and I'll get into this a little bit later on. I love racing cars and performance tuning, and just kind of seeing what they can do and what we can create. And also, I'm a musician as well. I've been playing the percussion, hand percussions, since I was 9 years old, and I do it right now for the church that I attend on a weekly basis. And so that's my set that I play every single Sunday. And another look at me. Somebody took a picture of me playing and sent it to me, and that's my family. It's very important to me. My wife and my five children there in that picture that was taken at a family reunion in North Carolina a few years ago. It's been on my Facebook page for some time, and so I know people rotate their videos. I mean, or their pictures, but family is important to me. I see no need to take it down. That's my family. I'm proud of them. They're growing up to be awesome young people. And so I'm going to keep it there until I can get another photo of all of us taken, and I'll update it at that time. Um, and so let's kind of get into a little bit more of this. So the home buying dream planning session, what is that all about? Home buying dream planning session. And so I started a series. It's not new information. It's been out there for years and years and years. All I did was take what was already out there and put it in a package and delivered it in a way that you could understand, you can actionize it, right? So home buying dream planning session is available now. It's free. Hit me up. I'll give you my contact information. Let's have this no obligation consultation. Let's talk about your dreams and your goals as it relates to home ownership, wealth building. Are you interested in building wealth for your family and leaving a legacy for your family? Let's have those conversations about what you're looking to do with regard to real estate. If you're a real estate investor, I've been doing this for 15 years. I understand the real estate investment mindset and industry. And so if you need some guidance and some counsel there, I got you. I take care of it. Not a problem at all. Let's clap it up for me. Awesome. So home buying planning session is a from dream to reality session, right? So this is how I deliver the service to you in the mindset of helping you go from dream home ownership, home owning dream to home owner reality. It's home. from Dream to Reality session that starts with a conversation about your home buying goals and needs. It should start with a conversation, right? Yes, it's a transaction at the end of the day, but it should start with a conversation. What I think about the process is probably not as important as what you are looking to accomplish. And so our goal, we need to have a conversation. I'm interested in your family. What are you trying to do as relates to your goals, and how does a mortgage and real estate fit in that picture when you're a homeowner and you're off doing your thing? So we having that conversation. Our conversation includes a comprehensive review and assessment of your home buying eligibility and buying power. That's very, very important. Not everybody is eligible to buy, even though they may have the buying power. So we having that conversation. Are you eligible? Are there any situation that exists in your current financial history that would make you ineligible? And what are the steps that will turn that ineligibility into being eligible, right? And that information, after we having that conversation about, yeah, you're eligible, and what is your buying power, right? Yes, you can buy. So how much can you buy, or how much you should buy? And that information, at least with me, is backed up by documentation and a loan application. That conversation is really kind of um, just talking about information if it's not backed up by conversation and documentation. I don't want you out there making decisions on what we talk about if I haven't first completed this first step, received your documentation and your loan application, and stamped it with a pre-approval, because we've run the automated system and that system says approved eligible, which is a validation, a form of a validation of what you and I accomplished together, right? And so in that conversation, we're going to be talking about your capacity to include a mortgage in your current budget and determine what that payment should be. That's extremely important. Do you have capacity? A part of the eligibility process is determining, do you have capacity to add a mortgage to what you're already paying, right? Can this $2,000, $1,500, $2,500, $3,500, can that payment fit in what you currently are paying right now? We're going to determine the capacity to add that mortgage payment into your current budget. Here's another important factor, to ensure your debt to income ratios are appropriate. That's extremely important. Yes, you may be able to include a $2,500 payment into your debt to income ratio, and the system might even give you an approved eligible at 50% debt to income ratio. Here's the problem with that. The problem with that is that it's based on your gross income. You're bringing home the net. I'm assessing by industry standard the gross. There's a mismatch there. So that's why the conversation is really important, to find out what payment really fits, right? Compared to what the industry says. So you 50% might work for you because you may be married and your spouse is not on the loan for whatever reason, or you have young children, young adult children who have not transitioned out on their own yet, and they're working and they're going to be helping you for a period of time. So that's a compensating factor. We need to understand that, so that we know that we're making that loan at 50% debt to income ratio to a family that really can afford it, because it's not just the applicant going to be making that payment. There's some contributors to that household finance picture that's going to help make that work. That's a different conversation than it's just you by yourself with a debt to income ratio of 50%, right? That's that's something that I would encourage you not to accept. That's a part of that's an early concern that may come up later on if something should to happen to your income. Now, how are we going to afford it? So let's have the conversation about it. Okay. Let's talk about it. We still may do it. Not a problem at all if we do, as long as we understand that there are controls in place that's going to help that not become an issue in the future. In addition to that, we'll move on to reviewing your available capital to cover the down payment, closing costs, capital resources we're going to look at that are available to you to include down payment programs. Are you getting gifts from family and your own funds? What does your capital structure look like, right? What is that capital stack, right? What does that look like? And who is in your sphere of influence that's going to help you make that purchase, or willing to help you make that purchase? What down payment programs are in your area that you may qualify for to help make that purchase? Here's a caution that I want to throw out there right now is that you don't want to enter, and I encourage you not to be willing to enter into a new mortgage transaction with zero in the bank. Using every dollar you have to buy the house, you close successfully. You show all these pictures on Facebook and you tell your friends you have party over there and you have zero in the bank. If the next day something occurred in your financial picture after that happened, then what? I just want you to think about that, and let's have that conversation. Let's plan it out up front. That's what this home buying dream planning session is all about. To cover those things and talk about those things so that you're 100% prepared going forward. We know life events happen, things come up unexpectedly, and so if we plan it properly, you'll be able to weather that storm as well, right? And so from there, we're looking at to review your credit history, credit score compared to the various loan program guidelines to determine the best loan program to achieve your home buying goal. This step includes um, action items for credit improvement if necessary. So we're looking at your history. What does it look like? Did you have some bumps in the road? You had some circumstances that occurred beyond your ability to control. Was there a health challenge? Did you get laid off, or unfortunately, I'm not going to mention that part. But life things happen, and did something occur in your life that caused that payment history to be in the condition that it's in? And are you on an upswing, right? So you may have a 500 credit score, but in the last 12 to 24 months, your credit just hasn't healed from the steps that you've taken to improve your credit. It just needs a little bit more time. We'll talk about any credit improvement action items that we can do to help expedite that process, right? And then finally, we're going to look at the collateral, the various homes that you're interested in buying in an effort to identify those that will be sufficient to secure the loan that you're seeking. Here's what is meant by that, right? So you find a house, you're getting a regular conventional loan, right? 3% down, first time home buyer. You find this house that fits within your pre approval. The pictures look great. You get out there and the living room floor is missing. Wait a minute, what happened to the living room floor? You almost fall through the living room floor through the basement. Wait a minute, that property is not sufficient to secure the loan you're trying to get because it needs work. It's not in livable condition, right? And so we need to take a look at what loan programs are there because that's your forever home. It checks all your boxes except for the living room floor is missing, right? So then we have the conversation, Sean, Mr. Sean, I love that house. How can we buy this house? Oh, Miss Home Buyer or Mrs. Home Buyer, listen, we have a renovation loan. It's called Fannie Mae Home Style. It's going to put that living room floor back in its place, make sure it's secure, put down base flooring and carpet and or whatever flooring that you pick out, and now it's ready to go. So those are kind of conversations that I'm talking about, making sure that the condition of that house is both move-in ready for you and safe for your family, and there's no condition within the property that threatens the integrity of the structure itself, right? We have conversations about that during that collateral time frame. We might need to switch to a renovation loan so that you can get that house. So we can talk about that as well. And so this process is known as the four C's of lending. So that's what I was talking about before. This concept is not new. Lenders use this all the time. I'm just packaging it and calling it home buying dream planning session. And our conversation, the information you provide is filtered and assessed through these four areas. I may not call it or may not say capital, may not say collateral or credit or that kind of thing, but that's what we're talking about during that process. And so these C's are formed into my conversation with you or our conversation with you and is designed to help you go from home buyer dream to homeowner reality. So let's have that conversation. Let's talk about your dream and your goal. There's my phone number on the screen right there. Want to talk about that, right? So up next. So here's why I want you to register, right? This is right now what we have in the home buyer readiness pack right now. We have 17 items. I'm talking to other professionals who's going to come alongside me to help me unpack and deliver this home buying home buyer series message to you. And they're offering all kinds of perks just to work with you and share information and make your experience wonderful. So a couple of items on here I want to point out that I think are really, really important. Um, Two of them are the credit it's the credit report review checklist and the red flag credit test, right? So the checklist helps you go through your credit report and quickly identify things that shouldn't be there. You might look at it and say, okay, this is fine. But wait a minute, this doesn't look just right. That credit checklist is going to help you go through that so that you can take it upon yourself and get those items fixed. Let's have a conversation about that as well. I can give you some tips and some tips and some guidance on how you can best do that. The red flag credit test, that particular one helps you understand if you're getting too much, if you're applying for too much credit. Is that too much credit? Is that threatening your credit picture, your credit history? Is your credit score suffering because there's too much utilization there? And so there's a test that you can run your credit report through, and we can talk about that. And then the other thing I think is extremely awesome, right, is the family budget. The family budget is a dynamic, editable Excel calculator that you could use on a monthly basis, day in and day out, to track your budget daily and your spending and your household expenses, the bills that can be paid off and the bills that are just ongoing expenses. And you can track that and help and use that tool along with the debt worksheet and the cash and asset worksheet to help determine what your net worth is. And so some other tools that are coming out. We got free appraisals are going to be added. It's not on that list. We got partners that are going to be giving out free home warranty and discounts on title services. So you want this package, and the only way to get it, you can't call me to get it. I'm not going to give it to you if you call me. But if you register using the link that QR code that's on the screen, if you click that, if you scan that right now and you register, I want you to view the material as well. I want you to view the videos and the lives that I've done in the past. They're going to help you, but I want you to scan that right now. Go and register, fill out the entire form so I know who you are. We as a team know who you are, and I can put this package in your hand. Now, and when you're going to get it, great question. I'm glad you asked that question. I'm going to clap for you. So we're giving that package away at the end of our series, which occurs on June the 16th at 2 o'clock. I may have to reschedule because there's another event that I've been called to that I may have to attend. But anyway, it's still going to occur on June 16th, and I'll send an updated um, a post about the new time, right? And so you want to get that. You want to reach out and you want to get that right away. So I'll leave that up for a couple more minutes. Now, on Real Pro Fridays, we usually ask the professionals a few questions about this to kind of understand who they are. And so I'm not gonna slight you. I'm gonna do it myself. I'm gonna answer these questions while I leave that up on the screen. Hopefully, it doesn't interfere with your ability to see that. And so, what drew me to the mortgage industry as a career? So about 2005, 6, 7 ish, somewhere around in there, probably 2005, 2006 more um yeah, so yeah, around that time I began to get the bug about real estate investment. So I lived in Baltimore City. Baltimore is a really big real estate investor hub and market, and so there's a lot of real estate investment conversation going on around that time. So I got the bug as well. I wanted to do that. I was in human services at the time, and working with at-risk youth in the inner city with an outstanding faith-based treatment foster care agency. I won't give their name, but they're outstanding. I would recommend them to any organization who needs support for their young people. And in that capacity, I was working with young people in the city, and I'll talk about more about this when I get to one of the other questions. And so the opportunity presented itself for me to get into the mortgage industry, but I started out trying to become a real estate agent because I felt at that time wasn't as informed as I am now. At that time, I was thinking being a real estate agent gives me access to information about real estate and that kind of thing. I wasn't really thinking about the financing part at that point. I was just kind of okay. I need access to information, how to and learn how to analyze properties and etc. And so I started the process. I think in late 2006, early 2007, going through a local real estate brokerage that was located in Anne Arundel County at the time. And I passed my test. I was about to pass the class and about ready to take the test. And the broker wanted to talk to me and prepare me. So she brought me into her office and she said, "Sean, okay, so you're gonna take your test and just want to give you some guidance, some education about what to expect so we can hit the ground running." I said, "Okay, cool." So she began to go through the whole process of being a real estate agent and things I needed to do up front. And during that conversation, she mentioned the following: make sure you connect with a good loan officer and mortgage company. I can help connect you. I have some contacts because you don't want your deals to fall through. You want them to be able to close. You want them you want that good home buying experience for your clients and that kind of thing. And so she was just giving me counsel, she's probably done that 1,000 times. But when she said it to me, the light went on because I spent the last 8.5 years working in human services, building a solution focused mentality and a service heart, right? Because he had to be dealing with at-risk youth. That's a tough call. Some of these young people will take you out if you step to them wrong. And so we had to develop skills that will allow us to help connect to the heart. Because once we got to the heart, if they would allow us in, we can help change from within, right? And so when she said that to me, my heart dropped. I was like, this is not for me. I'm a solutionist. It's not consistent with who I am. So I bailed. I thanked her for her time. I didn't take the test, real estate test, and I sought out to get hired with a mortgage company, and that started my career in 2007. So that's the short version. What attracted you to join New American Funding? Right, it's a typo there, but attracted me to join New American Funding. And I don't like typos. I'm gonna edit that real quick. All right. So, what drew you to the mortgage industry, and what attracted you to join New American Funding? So, my current branch manager has been in the mortgage business forever. We became friends years ago, and he invited me to a Zoom call with our current regional area regional manager, and our current vice president of community lending. And so I sat in on that dream call and learned about all of the wonderful things that New American Funding offered. And so it started out as a conversation like any other lender who was looking to recruit you would have, right? So I didn't hear anything that initially that sparked my ear or sparked my interest until he mentioned New American Dream Initiative, the New American Dream Initiative, which is a African American home ownership initiative that is geared towards removing the barriers to home ownership that affect the African American community, right? That there spoke to who I was and who I am as an African American male, and experiencing the challenge of being such in America. I wanted to participate with a company who's on purpose. Their initiative is they have an initiative to help curb the tide of injustice in home ownership in the home ownership area. Right, I wanted to be a part of that because the company is much bigger than me. They have the more resources to affect change. All I need to do is bring who I am to the train and find my space and be able to pick up the mantle where I am and move the charge forward. So that interests me. I wanted to know more, right? All the other stuff that they talk about, I mean, it's fine, but that right there was important to me, and that's why I joined New American Funding. And now I'm one of the ambassadors for the New American Dream Initiative here in the Maryland, D.C., Virginia area, as well as Georgia, the places that I'm licensed. Even though we're nice licensed nationally, those are my markets. And also, in addition to that, I'm a part of the task force here internally where we're talking about how do we boots on the ground deliver this message and make sure that you, Mr. Homebuyer, and you, Mrs. Homebuyer, are experiencing the benefit of this initiative being released or developed or established in 2016. That's how long it's been in the marketplace, right? And so that's what drew me to New American Funding. And there's much more that I can say about that. Stay tuned. There's some awesome things that are going to be coming up as a result of that. So just kind of stay tuned. And we lead the charge, right? We're one of the top lenders lending to minority communities, not just African American, but Hispanic, Latino community, our military community. You would think that veterans would be top priority in the mortgage marketplace. No, they're having challenges as well. And so we're taking upon ourselves to help them break through the barriers of home ownership as well. All right. So hopefully that answers that question for you sufficiently. So what is the key thing or things that you would say has made you successful? So for me, number one, I serve, right? I seek to serve the clients that I engage. A long time ago, when I got in the mortgage industry back in 2007, a few years later, the industry crashed. I had no idea why it crashed at the time. I wasn't a part of that conversation prior to, so I don't know what was going on. I just knew I wanted to be in it. Somebody should have tapped me on the shoulder and say, wait a minute, something's going on in that industry. You might want to wait. Um, but I got in and I remember working at a large bank. If I named the bank, you would know. They're one of the largest banks in the country and in the world. I was working with them as a loan originator, and I got a call, a series of calls from different home buyers. They were just, oh my gosh, crying on the phone. As I think about it in retrospect, I get choked up a little bit listening to those calls because there was nothing I personally could do to affect change in that person's life. As much as I wanted to, the products and the services that were available to my disposal wasn't sufficient enough to help them. I couldn't do anything about it. And mm, whew, that bothered me. And so I made a decision then that um, that the I would remove the transaction from the relationship and make it secondary and focus on the relationship first. So that's why I'm talking about conversation, home buying planning sessions, home buyer readiness packages, and things like that. That's why I'm having those conversations. It birthed out of those experiences with homeowners, and I couldn't help them. And so I built my career from that point on. I think it was like 2011, focusing on relationships, making that number one. That's one of the reasons I'm talking to you today, because from Dream to Reality Live and Real Pro Fridays, and coming soon is going to be Real Talk Tuesdays, where we break down and go take a deep dive in a lot of different loan or mortgage concepts. And then we're going to be bringing to you on Wednesday. It's called Hump Day Meetup on Wednesday. That's going to be coming soon, where you can, in these live exchanges like this, you can reach out, reach in, ask your question live, get your question answered live, no strings attached. We're just going to have a conversation live every other Wednesday. That's coming up real soon. So all of that birthed out of me wanting to connect in 2011 and bring some change to the marketplace. And I know I'm not the only one. I'm not the only loan officer here nationally that think like I think, who's after the relationship, but there are a lot of bad actors in the marketplace as well. All right. And so if they're after the transaction over the relationship, over answering your questions, over it doesn't to answer specific questions, it does take loan application and documentation, but get general information about the loan buying process, what's involved, what's interest rates, what affects interest rates, things like that. That's general information. Of course, it's not actionable intel. You don't want to take action on it, but you can still have that conversation. If you're experiencing someone who's prioritizing the transaction over the relationship, that's a concern. Raise your red flag. You may not necessarily disconnect from that relationship, but you want to demand more, right? Demand more out of that relationship. And so service, I would say, has made me successful. I my phone rings constantly. It's rung several times since I've been sitting here. It's on vibrate. My emails get blown up. People reaching out to me just because someone else told them. I got agents calling me, reaching out, sending me their clients because they hear about how I engage. And so your loan officer should be mirroring something similar. They may not go as deep as I go. That's not. I mean, we're different people, right? But at least this you should get a sense that they care about you and your family. That should be a part of that relationship. That should be a part of the conversation. Not take this loan program, take that loan program, and not tell you why. Why is it appropriate for me? Why is this a good loan program for me? How is this compared towards the other loan program? So service to me has been the thing that has helped me excel in my career. Um, and so how am I serving or have I served my community? I try to couple things I'm doing. I'm a member of a large church organization, my wife and family and I, and she and I serve as ministers there. And we are the campus leads for one of our locations here. That's a new role for us. We're still learning the role and trying to bring excellence to as best I can. And so we just started that process. I serve as a musician with our music ministry. And just anywhere that my man and woman of God asks of me, we're available to the capacity or to the extent that we're able to answer that call. So, and then also we serve with PG Car, some of the other realtor organizations as we learn about opportunities. Our branch managers, the other teammates on our team, we go out and we serve in our community alongside them as well. And so let me see, what's the next one here? Uh, Okay, so up next, why is homebuyer education important? It's important because you've never done this before. I've been doing it for 15 years. You don't know what I know, and you don't know the information that I know if it could help you. You don't know what's available. Yeah, you Google it. A lot of the information is attached to some type of sales transaction, which is not necessarily bad in and of itself, unless it's a bad actor on the other end. But there are good relationships on the other end of a lot of these calls these sales funnels. But education is important because you want to know, you want to be able to make an educated decision about this important purchase that you're going to be making, right? You want to know, can I use it to build wealth? Is this what's the impact of me keeping it long term and passing it down to my children as as their inheritance, right? What are my options as it relate to that? Is an arm good for me because I have a short term strategy for this particular house. I'm not an investor, but I'm still gonna not gonna be there that long. I'm looking to do an investment in a couple years. Is the arm right for me or interest only right for me because I'm going to do an Airbnb and I want to be able to maximize my 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 profit on a monthly basis. Does that make sense? Right? Or interest only might be good for a real estate investor who's doing long time rentals who want to maximize for a period of time their profit on a monthly basis and get the absolute lowest payment possible. Yes, you're not paying towards home ownership, but you're not paying it at all. Your tenant is paying it for it, right? And so I just did a scenario with the home buyer the other day, and that scenario, she was getting 1,700. I think it was $1,700 was her interest only payment versus a fully amortized payment at 3,000 with principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. So 17,000 over a 5-year period. That's $102,000 that her tenant was paying into her bank account, right? Over that 5-year period. Yes, it's interest only. At that point, now you're in a position, okay, let me go ahead and refinance and get a fully amortized loan. And then that tenant is still, or tenant, if there's turnover, going to continue to pay that payment. But she took 5 years to build, or the scenario created for her was a 5-year interest only loan that put $102,000 in her bank because her tenant was paying a $2,500 mortgage, or no, a $3,000. I think it was 3,000 or 2,500, something like that. I can't remember, but anyway, the difference between the two create $102,000 in the bank. So scenarios like that, right? She came to me saying, I just want a fixed rate. What are you trying to do with the house? I'm a real estate investor. Hey, consider this. Think about it. Not saying to do it, but consider it. Take a look at that. Does that make sense? Consider an arm. Does that make sense in your long-term scheme? You don't have those conversations if we don't understand what your goal is for the property. So that's why home buying education is important. You want to understand what your options are and how you can leverage those options to make the best decision possible for you and your family. All right. And so finally, as we end this session, tell us a fun fact about you. Okay, so there's a couple of different things. Hmm. I already told you about I like performance tuning cars. You know, I drive a SUV, late model SUV, and I started a project on there. I have a cold air intake, which is just simply taking out the factory air intake system and replacing it with a performance style that's open, where you can see the air filter. Um, when you open the hood. So what that does, it increase my my gas mileage for one, and there's more sensitivity to the pedal. When I step on the gas, I get more out of it with the same depresses of the gas pedal that I do. So performance tuning cars. Another thing is here's a fun fact that only my inner circle knows about me. When I was young, I wanted to race cars. I thought that was the best job ever, just to get paid a lot of money to race against someone else. I was very competitive as a young man, and I wanted to be a Formula One race car driver. So Formula One, I'm not. If you Baltimoreans may remember a couple years ago, we Baltimore downtown Baltimore was turned into a race car track, and those cars that was on that track were Formula One cars. So the kind of tubular body with the wheels sitting on outside of the fender and real low to the ground. And I wanted to do that as a career, and so I that's kind of got me interested in tweaking cars. And when the auto shows would come to Baltimore or Maryland, down here in Budds Creek, I used to have a lot of import tuner shows down there. I would go down there and just kind of be like a kid in a candy store. Man, I want to do this, but you know, life took a different turn for me. But that's a fun fact for me. Hopefully, you've enjoyed this session of Real Pro Fridays. Just wanted to deliver some thoughts so you know who I am. And when you see me on Facebook and we're doing this, you know, I'm the real deal, man. I'm passionate about what I do, and just have a conversation with me. Speak to different real estate agents or home buyers who have closed their loan. Then I was their loan officer. Just have a conversation with them about me and how I engage. Don't take it my word for it. They'll tell you if they're telling the truth about me, you'll get the same message. And so hopefully this has been a worthwhile time for you. And I appreciate you taking the time to join us today on our Real Pro Fridays. Now, you definitely want to scan that. If you haven't done it, you just tuned in at the end, please scan that now so I can get that home buyer readiness pack. It says home readiness pack, but it's really supposed to be home buyer readiness pack. I was trying to get that ready really, really quickly, so I kind of botched it up there. But home buyer readiness pack, you want it, and we're adding additional items to that. So we'll probably end up with 2025 freebies in that in package because we're not giving it away until next month uh, at the end of our final session, which is of the destination home ownership. Um, first things first. All right. Uh, so as we close out here, I want to throw my contact information up there on the screen. How you can reach me, how you can have a conversation. No strings attached. Give me a call. You want to talk to me about your situation, even if you're pre-approved, even if you are out there and you're having a bad experience. Doesn't necessarily mean that we need to work together, but if you need answers, right? That's the goal. So if you need answers, you haven't been getting the answers, give me a call. No strings attached. Of course, I would love to earn your business, but that's not the reason I want to talk to you. I want to make sure that you have a good home buying experience. And with that, that's my time. And you enjoy and have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you for joining.